Apologize. I have a very interesting explanation. Let me go ahead and get this set up. How is everybody, by the way? Just gonna fix this. Sunday brunch, HCRV, and tarot card Blitz. Yeah, we're running late because a friend of mine came over and she knocked on the door and she said, guess what I found? Somebody's moving out and they left a futon. It's a little dirty, but not as hard to clean as you would think. And so this is one of the things you learn as a broke aristocrat, right? Is that it can actually be more fun. For me, anyway, it's more fun to find a treasure trove, something that I could have gone and spent money as to get something new if I had wanted it. Or there's the fun of discovering this amazing futon that's 100% free. And the only thing I have to do is just make a little baking soda and essential oil and vinegar, and spray it, and then brush and clean. And then when it dries, everything is pulled to the surface, especially if you add a tea tree oil. And so that's what I did. We brought it in, we brushed it down, we made a tea tree baking soda solution with vinegar, and we brushed the whole thing down, and now it's drying. And then when the baking soda and everything comes to the surface, which it will, then you take a Hoover and you're going to just brush it and hoover it. And when it comes up, it's also going to bring up, in addition, it's going to bring up the tea tree kills fungus. A lot of people don't know that. So cedar wood also. The reason why these things work is because the plant has to protect itself. It's the plant's own immune system. And unlike humans, plants can't up and leave, right? They can't just pack their bags and leave. And so that's why plants have such complicated immune systems with this amazing ability to protect itself. But tea tree especially, tea tree oil, because it really, the plant really has the ability to protect itself quite a bit from mold and fungus, which is why it's used in cleaning for mold and fungus. So I put some tea tree, I put some cedar wood, both of which contain saps that are strong antimicrobials. Had a beautiful smell. I'm starting to cough again because of the cat. And my apologies, I did take an Allegra. Okay. All right, how's everybody doing? Let me give the shout out to everybody. Marjorie Harrison in the house. Constance Pleasance, hello. TR, welcome. Laura Hammond is in the house. Deborah Murphy, you're in the freezing rain in Kansas. Oh my God. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It's like cutting off in a really weird way. It usually doesn't do that. I'm gonna have to fix my background. It's like cutting off. I don't know why it's doing that. Why is my background doing that? I'm gonna have to fix, oh, there we go. I gotta have a wider background. I thought it would be wide enough. I guess it isn't. I hate this cough. It's back again. Somebody told me to get cat wipes. So I did order some cat wipes. Though, to be honest with you, I think I could have made it on my own. Chew on ginger. Yes, it's frustrating. They're like, oh, you were in Israel. You didn't cough once. Frustrating thing is that it seems to take so long for the Allegra to kick in, right? Okay. People, talk to me. What's going on in your world? How are you feeling about everything that's going on in the world? Damn it. I don't think this Allegra is working as well as the Benadryl. Damn it. I hate that. I hate that allergy. Oops. Where did you go? Oh, there you are. I'm taking a moment to get organized. I apologize. Anyway, so the futon got us behind. Then I was like, she was like, oh, 20 minutes to go live. And I'm like, I gotta eat. I'm starving. So I went and made myself something. I made a beautiful radicchio salad, radicchio and fennel. That sounds good. So I sliced fennel, I sliced radicchio and green onion and radishes. And then I had baked a turkey, which is a great time of year to get turkey. I love turkey. I baked the entire turkey, and put some of it in the freezer. And so I had a very delicious early lunch. Oh, it was very nice. How's everybody's weather? What? Our upstairs team taking out dangerous substances not live near Tel Aviv? Seriously? Well, that's not good. 40-ish degrees in Texas and rain headed here Monday. We're a little worried about Trump's situation. All we can do is shake my head and listen to the shit coming out of the mouth. The world needs to be afraid. No, the world doesn't have to be afraid because Trump has no future. Let's go ahead. We'll do the empath prayer, and then we can go ahead and give you all a collective reading after that. Hopefully my Allegra will eventually kick in. Yeah, that's why. Has anybody checked out Taco Tuesdays? I don't know if it's your cup of tea, but it's fun to hang out and talk about the Brady Bunch. My mental health, I can't keep doing this. Just, I can't just every day stressing about crazy people. It's not good for your mental, or sitting and watching the news 24 hours a day. I'm not going to do that anymore. Hi, Debbie Brady. Hi, K Travel. Good to see you here. Janice, you were asking about making an appointment. The links are below the videos usually. Oh, is Joel not here today? That's unusual. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. So again, I had received a question from somebody. Who wrote the impasse prayer? I'm just curious how many people here, because it is one of the first questions we ask when you take the test to become certified in remote viewing. How many people here know who wrote the impasse prayer? I also get people that want to republish it and that they want legal rights to, in their books, etc. So I'm just curious, how many people know the answer that are here today? Who wrote the impasse prayer? I'm gonna wait on that. Yeah. Where does it come from? Where does the impasse prayer come from? Who constructed it? How did it come into the world? I thought that would be a nice conversation before we gave you a reading. Did I, Lisa? Did I write the impasse prayer? Melissa, did I write it? Are you sure about that? Did I write the impasse prayer? Nobody wrote the impasse prayer. I mean, I wanted to create something that was a positive energy, and you folks helped. One of the terms that you guys used was Akashic records. I remember that. It was in the very beginning when we were a semi-private. Somebody had used the term Akashic records. And I thought, ooh, I like that. This idea that you can go into documents, or that the brain is constructed, that, there's this link between all of our brains, and that we have it's just one network, and it's a fine loop, and you can get on. There are ways to alter brain patterns theoretically, where you would be able to enter or have a greater capacity to understand that it's just one brain, right? That's the whole, it's just one brain. And so it's a network. It's an actual neural network. That's the whole theory. And that seems to be somehow we're picking up neural information in a way we don't entirely understand. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. So when you go into these meditative states, we've been looking at alpha brainwaves specifically. We've talked to people about how to access the alpha brainwaves. If you can't meditate, you can purchase an alpha stim machine. And the alpha stim will allow you, 20 minutes on an alpha stim will also reduce your craving for any kind of a drug or cigarettes. It's been used to help people who have addictions. And you can put it clips to your ears. I'll bring it one of you guys. Many of you have asked about it because you're struggling with the you want to be remote viewers, but you can't get into the right brain frequency. So you can there are things you can purchase. It's going to make you more psychic. Yes, if the theory holds true that that's part of what's going on. So yeah, just get an alpha stim. I was on alpha stim, I think, what was it, a year or two? I was on alpha stim when I began to study this. So yeah. So if you're trying to learn to be a remote viewer, if you're trying to learn to do this stuff, and you understand that the trick is to get into the alpha state, and we talk about the 5 steps, then the other thing I would say is to see what you can do to get into the alpha state, right? And of course, Debbie, the beautiful Debbie, creative director, heads my fan pages over at Facebook. Thank you so much for that, Debbie. What a gift. As many of you know, Debbie is a creative director, producer. She's also talent manager for up-and-coming talent on YouTube. So if you're interested in any of that stuff and you need to go under talent management, but I'm not famous, but I really think I've got a great concept, have a meeting with Debbie. You know, it's okay. She'll help you figure it out. Okay. Links are not working except the one you or Kay Gillette sent. I'm waiting still. 4-digit code. My goodness, I don't know anything. What country are you in, Janice? The other thing you can do is Debbie, communicate with Debbie, and Debbie can give you Chuck's phone number. And the fastest way to get an appointment with me is just to give Chuck, have Chuck call you. He's the assistant. I don't know if he wants me publicizing his personal phone number, but if your number can get to Chuck, then Chuck will just pick up the phone and call you. People that want to get in for a reading with me, you could talk to Debbie, and Debbie could give you, I don't know how we would do this, but yes, the person to call if you're like, I tried to get in, I apologize, is my assistant, Chuck Dransfield, who's also an actor and under Brady Management, artist and under Brady Management. Okay, so would you guys like to get a collective? And then any questions, I'm more than happy. Any political questions, be sure and put your blitzes up. People complain if I don't do enough blitzes, but I can't do them if you folks don't answer the questions. So don't be afraid, come on down and ask me anything, and I will give you an honest look. Okay, let's see what the message is for this week for the collective. Give you your community reading. Make sure, is this pinned? Okay. And then after that, any questions you have about Trump? We've talked about his risk for Alzheimer's. I put on my doctor's hat last week. Or yesterday. So any other questions you have, that's fine. Or psychic reading stuff, which is what we're doing today. Okay, let's see what's going on. Where you are at right now at this time is a lot of you are, you know what's starting to happen energetically, what I see is the birth of new small businesses. You know, it's kind of like this energy when you're just kind of rolling around, thinking about things, trying to look at them objectively. You're getting in that nice alpha state. You're trying to stand back, put emotion aside, and look at things with the best part of your brain, right? So the archetype that they're using is the King of Pentacles, and that is about financial stability and being grounded, being able to save your money. It's the smart business person. So the message from Spirit is really that if you're concerned about the business world right now, it's really not that scary. If you're concerned about your finances right now, it actually really isn't that scary for most of you. So one of the things I was really meditating on, because somebody had gotten this in, oh my God, my income is horrible. And then I did a remote on this individual. Not horrible, but he was concerned. And when I went into it, his problems were not really that bad. He had this message from Spirit that the universe was squeezing him financially because he had abandoned his dreams in life. He had abandoned his dreams. He had abandoned his vision. And so because of that, he was just desperately eking out a living with these crappy jobs, right? And so his imagery, the imagery that came to this individual was that the truth of the matter is his financial situation really wasn't that bad, that all he had to do was reduce his expenses by 10-20% and increase his income by 10-20%, and that would put him ahead 40%. And it would actually not be particularly difficult. And the way that he was going to increase his income 10-20% was by going back to what he had loved when he was younger and turning it into a little side hustle. There was something that this individual loved doing, and it allowed him a side hustle that was going to be able to increase his income 10-20%. And he got rid of a few subscriptions, cut back on a couple of things. But meanwhile, what's really happening, he's returning back to his joy, because that was really what he wanted to do the whole time. But he had forgotten, he had lost his way. And instead, he just was worrying, oh my God, my daughter's in college, and he was put in a situation where he had no choice but to brush off his old hobby and say, you know what, I'm going to see if I can't do that and increase my income 10-20%, right? So your archetype is the King of Pentacles. Being about your business, child. Be about your business, child. We can sit around and criticize other people. We can criticize what this person's doing, but it's really a waste of our energy, because criticizing them is not going to do anything to help you actualize your life, what you want to do with your life. And in fact, I mean, if you want to sit around and be pissed at your ex, I did it for years. Or we can turn our attention towards creating something that's really positive in our lives. So the base of the matter is the King of Pentacles. And I want to also point out that 9 of Pentacles, which is financial stability, is here. You're not in the situation problems. For most of you, you're not having problems. You're just transitioning to changing up your finances a little bit. And perhaps you're being squeezed to start a side hustle, which was what you really wanted to do in the first place. I have met in the last couple months so many stressed out people that I say, well, what did you really want to do? And they say, well, I really wanted to be a witch for hire. Okay, well, tell me what that looks like. What do you mean you want to be a witch for hire? Give me a little bit more information about what that looks like. Well, I'm really into like tarot cards and praying for people and house blessings and creating little sachets that, in plainer words, that's who she was. They were a healer woman, healer man, right? A mystical person, a shaman. So why aren't you doing that? If you're a witch for hire, then go be a witch for hire. It's like House of Voodoo. All she ever wanted to do was be a witch for hire. She got into all the herbs, all the deities, the healing, the waters, the baths. And then she became the healer woman for the House of Voodoo. And she inspires me too, by the way, as a medicine woman. When she makes her herbs, the way she infuses prayers, and she sees her clients healed. So she inspires me. So again, look to your side hustles if you're concerned. Look to going back to that thing which brought you joy. Where you're at right now, stressing out. The stress is there because Spirit wants to motivate you. It's like pushing you a little bit. Just laid low. The light shines brightest when all hope is lost, right? The Kifness. Many of you have gone through some rough times, right? What is above you? A healing. Take care of your health, because when you lose your health, you lose everything. Page of Cups is the archetype of Archangel Raphael. We've talked about this archetype a lot. For those people who are in my tarot class, we get together on Wednesdays. Each of the pages corresponds to a different archangel, and there are 4 that we focus on, right? So the archangel who brings the healing waters, extra points, since we're all just friends hanging out. Who here knows which archangel this is? I'll give you extra brownie points. I should probably get like a, it'll be like Purim or something. We'll give you oh, there's Joel. Joel is our floor director. Give him a warm welcome back. Okay. Nope, not Michael. Michael is the sword of truth. Not Michael. Michael carries the sword. Oh, and Dylan. Oh, salty chip. That is correct. Raphael is the patron of the doctor. Gabriel is Pentacles, and that's because Pentacles rules writing. And Gabriel stands behind the writer and the artist who creates. When Gorbachev wrote the Declaration, was it? The film where the angels were behind him. The angel behind him was Gabriel, right? So that would be Page of Pentacles, which governs like pens, writing, creative arts, document signing, etc., would fall under Gabriel. So this is Raphael. So a healing comes to you. Raphael is the medicine healer, patron saint of those who are in the medical profession, and he is bringing you your medicine. So that is Archangel Raphael. What you sit in, learn to let things go that do not serve you. You're going to have to put up a kind of barrier between you and people who don't treat you right. It reminds me of Kate Middleton, and people had asked me if I could talk a little bit about the fact that she was in surgery, etc. I don't want to invade anybody's privacy, but this idea that when we're stressed out, it can really have a profound impact on everything. Our gut teaches us our gut is our little brain, right? And it's something that we teach remote viewers to sit in their gut. They want to feel the tight clench when you're on a target, right? We've talked extensively about the importance of the gut, the third chakra, right? So bad things can happen to us if we are heartbroken. After October 7th, I was so devastated emotionally, as were many of you, that I had a health collapse. But it was diverticulitis, right? So that what happens in a situation like that is you literally tear your intestines. You start tearing your intestines open. You're all churning away, you're up in knots, and you're squeezing, and you can't eat. I lost 20 pounds, by the way. And you start getting tears, and then you start getting things stuck in the pockets, and then you wind up with a blockage. And then if the area does not get blood flow, it becomes infected. And your stress has churned and torn, begins to tear your intestines. And when a situation like that happens, they can do resectioning, where they actually have to remove the dead part often it's the sigmoid colon when that happens. But from a spiritual perspective, what's going on? What was going on with you when you tore your intestines open? Well, I know what was going on with me when I tore my intestines. And all I wanted to do was get to Israel. All I wanted to do was get to the war zone, and to be told by my physician that I wasn't going anywhere. Yes, I did refuse antibiotics. I treated it with my own herbs. Thank you very much. And I didn't go to surgery, but and then I healed myself. And then when I could walk again, I got on the plane and headed towards a war zone. I know I'm crazy that way. Point is this, my friends, is trust your gut, right? And if your family is killing you, doesn't matter if your family is the Windsors and you've had to put a plastered smile on your face at the expense of your own sense of self, your own truth, because somebody told you this was more important. Your health will pay for it, right? No, Joel, I'm not her doctor, but because of what happened to me, because of the stress I know she's under, and because I'm a doctor in my private life, I thought, look, I'm not going to diagnose her. I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you where my head went, which was that I think she had a very severe diverticulitis. I think that it did severe damage tissue. She had a blockage. And they're saying it was a blockage. And I think it was a blockage due to diverticulitis, which is literally holes in your gut. Yes, there are things that can cause hole in the gut. You know, we talk about fiber. We talk about not relying too much on gluten because we're finding the bacteria inside the diverticuli tend to be bacteria we find when people eat large amounts of wheat. So the constant tearing from eating gluten. It's not that you're allergic to wheat. It's not that you're allergic to gluten. It's just that it's glue. And so the more you're pushing glue out, that you start getting tearing. But there's also a spiritual aspect to diverticulitis, which is that you're literally your guts are you are literally tearing your guts. Your stress levels are tearing your guts apart. There is definitely a stress component because it happened to me. Well, I'm grateful that I'm a physician, and I'm grateful that I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I'm grateful that I knew precisely what to do, and I did it. Copious amounts of sage, mountain sage, copious amounts, because it's a strong antiseptic. So I was strong sage tea and fast, semi-fasting, put a little honey in it, which is also antimicrobial. There were other herbs I did, chai, large amounts of chai tea. And then laying on of hands where you're sending love to the gut. And you have to stay away from anybody that's stressing you out. And you need to turn the TV off. Yeah, so that's what I did. You have that same aspect here because you've got the Hanged Man. You've got to be able to let things, look at your cards again for the community. This was me after October 7th, right? So everybody's connected, right? It's one brain. So we're all having some version of this, right? Whether it's Kate in the hospital or any of us, because we're all connected and you can see it. You can see very clearly that we are heartbroken, so it doesn't surprise me that we've entered into the time of Raphael. And we've got to let this go, folks. If it's not, look at this, all this fighting in the past. It was fighting. Fighting's making us sick. Smoother waters lay ahead for all of us. Where we are at right now, be in love. King of Cups is the kindness card. He's the king of kindness. Archangel Raphael, the sword of truth, sits in the house of one's opposition. Think about that. Your opposition has the Archangel Michael on top of him. Now, Michael is associated with truth. He parts the clouds. You can see the clouds there. And you can see him holding the sword of truth. This is Michael's card. For those of you who wanted to know which archangel Michael is, he's the sword of truth. He's the only archangel I think about who carries a sword. He fought Satan and won because Satan is a liar, right? That's the fundamental teaching of the Satan, right? The function of the Satan Kabbalistically is he is the bull-faced liar. But it forces us to fight for our truth. The more they lie, the more we fight to part the clouds. And so that's what Archangel Raphael teaches us. A lot of you folks growing extensively, got a nice 8 of Wands moving in, and your final outcome is wealth. You guys, a lot of you are going to be not only fine financially with your side hustles, etc., but I'm seeing huge financial improvements for the country. We're back at work in 2024. I know people were stressed out about the economy. A lot of it had to do with the fact that we're just catching up from all the lost income, etc., after COVID. But I see the world, despite all this disruption, I always see cooperation. You can see here entering into 7th position, clarification over being a loving being is a savant, which is, magician. Take control of your situation. Fear of fighting, war, etc. Look, you cannot save the world, people. Save yourself. Create a sanctuary for yourself. Tell yourself, I do not have permission to sit around and watch the news all day. It's making me sick. Okay, does that work for you? All right. Yes, Gorbachev wanted peace. He most certainly did. What's the gut? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, somebody just donated. Thank you so much. Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case from Utah that makes the performance of an abortion illegal and will jail caregivers for 2 years. Any insight? Yes. And hi, Tamara Rose. Thank you for the donation. I much appreciate it. Okay, let's see about the Supreme Court and the case in Utah. Don't you just love it when people who are not doctors are deciding the medical care of women based on how they feel? Talk about a psych hospital, right? I don't know. You've got this new beginning. Somebody's leaving what they have constructed, hope and fear, Ace of Swords, and then the final outcome is the Seven of Pentacles. You know what I think? I think there was an unholy alliance that took place between the business world and the church. I don't think it was ever a comfortable relationship. It was just that, Bush Sr. needed to get the votes, and so he started chatting up the churches. And then this disastrous relationship happened between the businessman and evangelical churches. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of the time, they're in conflict and they don't even like each other. And the only reason that they brought the evangelicals along was so that they could get votes. So I don't think the business people want this. Bush Sr. was pro-choice. Barbara was pro-choice. So she had a real hard time with this relationship, as do many business people. It's like, what the fuck? I'm a businessman. I'm not going to tell some lady what to do with her doctor. Talk to your doctor. So what happens? What happens to the average person who's a business person? They're not necessarily a bad person. They just want to make sure that they don't want to be a part of that. So what happens? We're not going to fucking fund that. That's the bottom line. We're not funding that. We're not a part of it. It doesn't represent us. We're not bad people. We're business people. And not all bad business people are bad business people, but that is not us. So I think we're looking at potentially some real stresses starting to form I see cracks in the Republicans. And this is one of the things that's killing the Republican Party, because you have the business people, and then you've got these pro-life evangelicals, and the twain shall never meet. They were never meant to be together. They don't think alike. A libertarian, come on, man, it's not going to happen. So you have this new beginning, Four of Wands, but somebody's leaving. They're leaving what they've already built. In plain words, they're out. I'm out. And I'm taking my money with me. You guys went crazy. Goodbye, GOP. I really feel this. There's a new beginning, Four of Wands, and then you get this Ace of Cups. It's like that song, Don't You Love Her, Baby? Don't you love her? Well, what's that? While she's walking out the door. So Eight of Cups is they're walking out the door. So who's walking out the door? The hopes and fears, Ace of Swords, that they want to protect their business. But look, Seven of Pentacles, my business, my trade, how I make my money. This whole choice thing and controlling women's bodies and all this other crap, what the hell does that have to do with having a good relationship? So they're not on the same page. They're not thinking the same thoughts. They're not living in the same world. I think the businessman is coming in. I think that he's pulling funding. Businesswoman, businessman. I think that they are going to put the kibosh on this. I do not see unity here in the real GOP. And this is one of the things that caused the collapse of the GOP. You can see strong Iron Man coming in by April. Boundaries. Helter skelter. Eight of Wands is really happening quickly, that they're walking out the door. Look at this complete confusion. What the hell happened to the party? Ace of Swords. And then the final outcome is Six of Wands with the businessman. And this businessman or woman is focused on saving the economy, right? Getting the trade back up and moving that was affected. You can see here again, 7 of Pentacles, which by the way is also my green economy card. And it's positioned with a nice 6 of Wands. As you know, we use the wands, which historically were associated with dendrochronology, right? The ability to tell time by the rings of a tree. And so it was thought that wands could be used to give, because of the association with time. So of all the suits, wands are the most likely to, you can read time most accurately with the wands. So we read a wand as a month card, you know. Others say no, Whimsy, it's a season, because you create a ring, like is it 2 rings a year or something? I personally was taught by my teacher that it's a month. And so I've always said it's a month. And the cards, I think the cards are saying that the wands are a month. I'll tell you why. But anyway, so you have this increase in economics, and then you have 6 months. Victory within 6 months, my 6 of Wands. And that puts us where? That puts us in June, right? So we're looking at being really in a good, that we're really seeing an upswing in the economy in the United States by June. Anybody want to talk about it? Good, bad, neutral? How do you feel about it? Are you surprised that the GOP unholy alliance is starting to collapse between the business people and the evangelicals? How could this have gone on as long as it did? That's what I'd like to know. Right, something to think about. Okay, good questions. Yes, empath's prayer was written by no one and everyone. Thank you to the person who used the term Akashic records. Another person said, "Our good angels," and many people laughed and said, "Good angels? Do we have bad angels?" I don't know. I liked the term. You liked the term, so we said good angels. Yes, I suppose we sometimes have bad angels floating about. How did we write it? It went on. It took us about, how many months did it take us? I know that Debbie just put it up. Give us the clarity. That's right. You guys wanted clarity. You wanted wisdom. These are all what you requested. Give us the clarity and wisdom. It almost, you know what? When I think about the prayer we constructed, it sounds almost like an Alcoholics Anonymous. Some of you must have gone into the 12 steps or Al-Anon or something, but no, when you look at give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower us on our journey, that sounds almost like something from, it has that kind of ring to it, you know, that kind of poetry. Wisdom needed to empower all of us on our journey to make the best decisions. Yes, the highest goal of humanity. So what did you say? You said the highest goals for humanity were clarity. What did you say? Ourselves, the planet, the people we love. And then Cosmic Valentine said, Geocosmic Valentine popped in and said, and even those we have problems, or say, and even our enemy, or say, she something like that. And we added, and that came later, right? And those who we may have strife with. And you know what? A lot of people struggled with that line. And now many people feel like as difficult, it was added later. And it was Geocosmic that contributed that. And I think it's very appropriate, because it's very hard for us to love everybody, isn't it? Sometimes it's hard for us to love our friends. Imagine how much harder it is to love people we have strife with, right? So thank you. I thank you all for creating such a beautiful prayer. And it belongs to everyone. And so there is no, you'll never be sued. It's all public, my public declarations, because I don't own it. Yes, you are free to use it, change it, transform it. It's a lovely prayer that we have created. All right, so let's look at some blitzes. Houseless mentality ill in the country. What's the goop tour for the houseless mentality? I don't understand the question, Stacy. I'm sorry. I'd love to answer, but I don't understand it. There's been a small uprising. Okay, here's a good one from Never Late to Dream. There's been a small uprising in Russia last week. What does the political situation look like for Russia in the near future? I worry for the Russian people who have suffered a lot in the winter. Boy, haven't they, though. So we're talking about 800 troops. What is it? 800 Russian troops a week? Or is it? Can't be daily. It's got to be weekly. Dying. They're just being brought in and murdered. Not murdered, but they're being taken into their deaths. It's not serving any purpose other than a malignant narcissist doesn't want to admit he's wrong, and so he's chosen to just send his people to their deaths. Not only that, but he's offering free Russian citizenship if you come and die for. I mean, come on, folks. What happened when we went into the remotes? Y'all remember that when you guys said, could you go in and get into like your freaky meditative state and say, what the heck's going on? When was this, last year or something? And I fell into this dream-like state, which is part of remote viewing. And it dawned on me that Russia could not maintain its military budget. And one of the biggest drains on its military budget was the Wagner Group, which had taken millions and billions. And when I looked at that, I thought, well, they're going to fire Wagner. And they did, because they were running out of money and they had to cut corners. And that's the point at which Russian, British intelligence, it came out open, but we got to follow the bouncing ball early, right? Isn't that the fun thing about trying to step back and think, well, what would be the most logical, right? So British intelligence encouraged Petrosian to go and beat the crap out of Putin, which did not end well for Petrosian. They also paid him in bribes. And that also didn't go well for him, right? So the takeaway is that Russia's in serious trouble, aren't they? They can't keep this going, can they? Let's take a look. Okay. This has to end. It's the same imagery that we've talked about before. It has to end because honestly, how I feel when I go into this energy, it has to end because we're not doing anything else. The country has stopped growing. It's all about the war 24/7. It's affected our businesses. It's affected people have left the country. It's the war 24/7 at the expense of everything else, our businesses, our lives, our people leaving the country, dead people coming back in. Everything is about the war. Russia has stopped. Everything has stopped because of the war. Nobody can do anything else. Nobody can build anything else because it's all about the war. It's over. You cannot be in a chronic state of war. Oh, you just have to. It ends because it's not sustainable. Well, no, we're going to get a new missile from Iran. You know what? They'll not shoot. They'll put up some kind of iron. Come on. Is he going to only be happy when he kills all of his country people? What's the bottom line? They're not making any freaking money. We got to get back to making money, honey. This is a frustration like, where's the money? Like the business people, everybody's broke, man. What are we going to have to do? Move our businesses to some other country? That's what's starting to happen. We're going to have to just damn and divest and move it somewhere else. That's how I feel. My money, I'm watching my freaking money. I'm stressed out about my money. The high priestess, the wise people come in. Let's clarify. Also, it could be the courts, because the Torah is the bearer of light and the bearer of the truth is the Torah, right? So they can continue to play the game, but reality, you can't invade somebody's damn country and then say, well, we'll just take half. No, you're a psychopath. We're not going to let you hang out in Crimea, building up military bases, and then attack us again when you're nice and comfy in 3 years. Get the fuck out of our country, freaks, psychopaths, right? So you have that, pulling back economically. Four of Pentacles. What do we learn about Four of Pentacles? Holding the money, right? They're freaking broke. It ended because they're broke. Look at this, the opposition, the businessman's out the door. You see your cards, folks? Now, come on. You adore me and I have a pretty face, but do you really need me to tell you what these cards are? You can see your own cards. Oh, for Putin? Specifically for him? Because there's a guy here who's facing prison. So I think it's the courts. High priestess is the Torah, it's the law, it's the natural order, right? It's like Buddhism, right? It's the natural order. We're headed to the courts. You cannot invade someone's country and start massacring people because you've decided that you want to. We're headed to the courts, and we're headed to international. God damn, man, they need to end this sooner rather. They've lost. Look at their business. Look at Putin. Here's the courts. He's screwed. I think a lot of I wouldn't be surprised if they started try and figure out a way to arrest the generals, not just him, and have them in the Hague with those types of cards. Unless somebody here who's smarter than me has a different interpretation. I mean, I can't. Yeah, it's not looking good. It's not sustainable. I mean, that's the way to view it. It's simply, they want to get back to work. The business people, they didn't know it would go this long. And if it continues, they're going to just have to completely do it. It can't continue. It's not sustainable. That's what the cards are saying. All right. DeJoy is still Postmaster General. Is he planning to slow the mail in boats again? I just don't understand why he is still there. I'm seeing traveling. Is he from Florida? I had a vision of Florida. He must be spending time over there. I know there were problems in Florida. No, they streamlined. They streamlined a lot, and they went. It looks like they automated quite a bit at the post office, and some of the problems had to do with cost cutting and the fact that they had switched to a new. I mean, I'm just looking at this and figuring it out based on what it appears. They were trying to cut cost at the post office, and they switched to a new system over a 3-year period based on what it's saying here, 2 to 3 year period. And they went automated. And they did that, first off, because it was better. There were less mistakes. And also, it is more cost effective. So unfortunately, some people, they're hiring less. But once the new system got implemented, it actually turned out to be a lot more streamlined and more effective. But the first 2-3 years was a little rough. And I don't know if this is public information, but part of it had to do with them switching to an automated system for getting the mail out, and it meant reducing the number of employees. So a lot of it were things that were going on that had nothing to do with politics. You can see here, travel card, Two of Swords. I'm not seeing a lot of movement here. There was some confusion about movement, the world, but he was feeling defensive. He was being blamed for the system that got put in. It would have been slow no matter who put the system in. Smoother waters after they implemented it took about 2-3 years, and then 10 of Wands. Heavy load, it's moving. It has nothing to do with him at this point. It has to do with an automated system. He won't be able to slow the mail because when you look at the cards, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with how the system was automated, how they switched it over. They had a new computer system. They had things implemented that were going to be cost-cutting measures, but the transition was a little bit disastrous. So maybe it caused people to interpret it differently. But it really had to do with automation. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for the time you've spent with me today. If you're trying to get in for a reading, please check out the information below. Also, if you cannot at this time afford a reading because you're struggling, we do have Wizio, and that is where I tape the reading for you. Usually taped reading takes 5 to 10 minutes, and I think it costs $30. And then you always will have that taped reading. And so that's just something that Chuck and I decided to do for people because it's fun and it's inexpensive, and we wanted to make it available to everyone. All right, be well, everyone. Be kind to all so that all can be kind to you too. We'll see you later, everyone. Peace out.